Hello lovely people, welcome to our weekly reading for the week of the 1st of January. Wow, that is January 2024, Happy New Year. So, this is our first reading for the new year and I'm really interested to see what we have in store for us for this coming week. Let us have a look and see. Right, let's see. What have we got? We've got the 9 of Swords. Interesting start to the new year. And then we have Strength. That's good. And we have the Knight of Swords. So, okay. Wow. So this is as I say, this is a very interesting start to the new year. We're looking at one minor arcana card here, if I may just say. Then we're looking at a major arcana card and a court card. Minor arcana cards are pretty much about what's happening in the now, what's happening presently. And sort of on a week-to-week or daily basis type of thing. And the Strength card is the major arcana card, and this is very much about what lies underneath. These are sort of deep psychic cards. And then the court card it's either an aspect of yourself or it's to do with somebody that's close to you that's going to influence you in some kind of way. So, starting with the 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords is, 9s in the tarot, first of all. They kind of represent a period of reflection before a final commitment to a goal or a person or a project. So, these are the 9s. You're nearly there, you're almost there, but you're not quite there. That's the number 9. You still have a little bit of work to go. And this card here, the 9 of Swords, is very much about mental anguish. It's because it's a sword card. It's what's going on inside your head. And it represents someone, if you look at the card here, we're looking at someone who can't sleep because they would have unresolved issues or, overcrowding in, simultaneously. And swords people need to understand why events unfold and what kind of decisions led to a current situation. So this can often lead to thinking in circles and basically resolving nothing. So the 9 of Swords can often be referred to as the card of the dark soul, dark night of the soul. And you can see why it's not an easy card. However, it doesn't really matter whether it's an easy card or not. It is what it is, and it's giving us some insights to what is happening for ourselves. So what this card is doing, it represents a time of questioning your commitment or one's commitment to current beliefs. Because, sometimes people cling to attitudes that just no longer sustain them. And the thing is, attitudes can subtly shape a person's life. They can, depending on your attitude, it may highlight opportunities or it may obscure opportunities. It just depends on what you see and what you don't see. Some people would see risk as something to be, to go forward to. They would be drawn towards risk. And whereas other people would be very averse to it. So it's really about what your belief system is. And really what this card is kind of highlighting as well is that if your belief system is not supportive, then it really is time now to consider kind of like an overhaul of your personal judgments, how you view things. So this card, we're looking at somebody, the subconscious mind is attempting to make sense of life and to present solutions for problems. And the card, the Nine of Swords, it does highlight fear and doubt and worry over present and future circumstances. You know, that's what's keeping this person up awake at night. We're going to talk a little tiny bit here about mental shadows. So it's kind of like those thoughts, it's like your inner saboteur attacking you, you know, from within. And when that happens, that brings about fear, it brings shame, brings up feelings of fear, feelings of shame, feelings of guilt, and feeling utterly alone. So these are tools that our inner shadow uses to sabotage us. And these inner shadows, they're like nightmares. You know, they're really scary. And I don't know about you, but I know for sure that there are some nights when I'm tossing and turning and there's just what I would call unwanted thoughts in my mind, and they can be very persistent. And, you know, and and they're horrible and they're scary. They're horrible thoughts. And so this is where I would say that I'm being attacked by my inner shadow, my inner saboteur. And there's nothing I like more than a really good night's sleep. And, you know, when this happens, I can guarantee you this is not like having a good night's sleep. And what I have to remember is that they don't really exist, that even though these thoughts are really, really scary, they don't exist. They're not real. They're not real. And so sometimes what I do is, quite often what I would do when this happens is that I just sort of sit upright in my bed, and then I will turn on the bedside light and I'll read a book. You know, read until, you know, my eyes are too tired, and usually that has broken the sort of circle that's been going on, and then I can fall asleep. But it's very important that you break it, and really sooner rather than later. Just don't let these horrible thoughts overcome you. Because they can be really overwhelming, and they will be thoughts that you probably won't even think about during the day. They just, you know, they latch onto you at night. So it's really important, to remember that they don't really exist, and that you are stronger than your inner saboteur. So if you can think of these horrible thoughts, well, whatever they are, they could be just, you know, they could be thoughts that are undermining your confidence, thoughts that are, you know, saying that you should be feeling ashamed of this, or you're guilty of that, or you're not good enough, or whatever. You must stand up to them, because they're not true. And, you know, they will try and overtake your mind, but you do have the power to go stop, just stop. And, you know, but you have to change. You know, you have to change, do something, read a book, make a cup of tea, or meditate, or whatever it is that works for you. So if you look at the card here, it's quite interesting, because here on the panel of the card you have, you know, there's some fighting figures here, and this is where you are submitting, you know, to the attacking of your inner saboteur. But the card here is also showing that there is still hope. Now, he can't see it because he's covering his eyes. And this is a representation of you. So you're metaphorically covering your eyes. So you can't see the hope that's out there. You can't see the opportunities that are out there. And if you look here at the swords, well, all of the pointed ends have been cut off. And so what this is actually saying is that it's neutralizing their threat. So you've got all these swords, but really there's no threat there because the sharp ends have been cut off. And, the blanket is a shield. Blankets offer comfort. They're a reminder that we're safe. And they're covered in roses, and roses are very much about your inner desires. And so these roses, what they're saying is that you're vital and valuable. But to escape the fear, you must view yourself in the context, the context of the context of your spirit. And think of your spirit as somebody that's a little bit just high up there. And because that higher part of yourself, that your higher self, knows you and knows your value. And so you really need to see yourself in this context. And the more that you affirm, your inner saboteur with self-loathing, when you're affirming that, the more it will thrive. So switch it off, bump, and stand up and affirm your value to yourself. Because this is exactly how your inner shadow will lose its power. You have to turn it off. And the only way really that you can turn it off is to affirm love and strength to yourself. Now, this very nicely, I have to say, brings me onto this card here, which is very much what goes on underneath. And this major arcana card is strength. And what this card is saying is that you are stronger than the challenges before you. And this card is a symbol of inner fortitude. So not outer, powwow kind of fortitude, strength. It's very much about inner fortitude. And it's strength that needs to be reinforced every day. The same way that you exercise your muscles, and the same way that your muscles need to be continually used to maintain their power. So this is really what this card is very much about. It is talking now about your strength. And so every time you act in your own best interest, despite your fears and inner weaknesses, you are developing strength. And I want to say here that strength is a choice. You might not think that. You might think, oh, well, I'm not, I'm old or I'm weak or, you may not feel that you have strength. But really strength, we all have strength because strength comes in all different guises. And it is a choice. So you can either say, buckle to what keeps you stuck and afraid, and believe me, many people do, or you can choose excellence, if you like. You can choose to rise above it and decide that you are not going to be a slave to your inner saboteur here. So I'm really, now, as I said, I'm talking about inner strength. I'm not talking about the powwow kind of bullying type of, I'm physically stronger than you, or I'm going to talk you down, or I'm going to bully you. I'm absolutely not talking about that. But you may well be faced with that. And if you have inner fortitude, then you'll be able to deal with it and manage it. So, when we're looking at the lion in this card here, the lion here represents your lower impulses. So the lion represents fear, anger, shame, guilt, bad habits, and other sort of out of control kind of behaviours that you might have. And this lovely lady here, she confronts the lion by gently closing its mouth. And the reason why she's doing that is she's not allowing the lion, to consume her. So she's not allowing the fear, the anger, the shame, those lower impulses to consume her. She loves the lion and it loves her. It's giving her a little lick there. And this is really your higher self. So she's your higher self. This is your lower impulses. And your higher self really appreciates when you focus your passions constructively. And the infinity symbol here, this is really important actually, because it shows that in this card here, in this description, that she is eternally confronting the lion. She is eternally confronting her lower impulses. And her strength is part of her now, because she is exercising that strength every day. Because now it has been habitually reinforced by confronting and overcoming weakness. And the key here is every day. And if you look at the lion's tail is here, it's between its legs. And this symbolizes submission to that part of you that knows best. So this is a real submission of the lower impulses, submitting to your higher self, that you recognizing that you have control over what you feel, over what you think, and really ultimately over your destiny. Now, again, I'm just going to reiterate here that strength is not manifested by large displays of power, but this by the gentle, compassionate and self-directed corrections in the form of good decisions. So strength, it's a daily routine, and like every other daily routine, it gets easier with time and practice. I mean, you wash your teeth every day. Do you even notice that you do that? You know, that sort of thing. You brush your hair every day. Do you even notice that you're doing that? So it does get easier. You come to accept these things when it's a routine. You accept them. You just get on with it. I go to CrossFit. I don't even think about it. I just get up, get dressed, and I go. If I really, there is the odd time when I do stop and think about it, and I might go, oh no, I really don't want to go to CrossFit today. Oh, it's too wet, it's too cold. Oh, I'm too miserable, or whatever. But then I go, just buckle up and go. And I'm always delighted that I did. But the key really here is just don't think about it. Just put it into your routine, make it your routine. And this really is what this card is about. It's saying make strength your routine. And if you make it your routine and exercise those parts of you that need to be exercised to give you strength, then, it will get easier. So, you might want to ask yourself, it's a good time to ask yourself at the beginning of the year, what is it that you need to do to exercise that part of yourself for you to overcome your inner saboteur. It's really important that you do not make self-corrections out of guilt or out of shame or out of fear or any of those lower impulses, because inwardly directed corrections should always come from a place of self-love and compassion, or they simply won't work. They'll be a bit like a diet. You might decide to go on, it's a bit like going on a really, really severe diet because you want to lose X amount of kilos in X amount of time. And what happens is later on you rebel and revert and you pile on all the weight back on again. And this is really what this is like. It's saying if you let your lower impulses be the place that you come from in making self corrections, then you will rebel and you will revert, and that's just not going to work for you at all. So you are a lot more powerful than you give yourself credit for. Every day you have the power to be excellent. So, you have the choice to direct your life, or you have the choice to leave your life to your inner saboteur, your inner shadows. But I know that because you're listening to me and because you're here, that is not where you want to be. I know that you want to be in charge of your own life, be in charge of your destiny. And so I know that you are going to do this. So now, interestingly, it brings us here to the Knight of Swords. And we're looking, as I say, we're looking at either aspects of yourself, or we could be looking at influences that are close to you. The Knight of Swords is the quickest thinking and the quickest acting of all the knights. This is a very, very restless character. This character is very much an ideas person who is detached, quite reasonable, observant, and can be objective. This character loves to talk and has plenty of ideas, but can also be indecisive, because really thinking and conceptualizing are their favorite kind of like pastimes, not so much making the choices. Now, often with the Knight of Swords, you might have a choice of two paths, and the Knight of Swords can suggest that it's time to act swiftly to avert disaster or to secure an opportunity. So when this card comes up, it's pretty much a seize the day moment. A quick solution to an issue might be required, or maybe a swift action that can save the day, if you like. So it may be sometimes that a clear idea, if the idea is clear, you act on it in the right moment, and that might change your destiny. So if you have a clear idea and, you're letting your inner lower impulses dictate to you here and saying, oh, don't do it, you're never going to succeed, whatever, then you really, these two cards are very important, that you manage those impulses, you climb above them so that you are able to act and, in the right moment. Because, if you act in the right moment, that can change your destiny. So this card describes the ability to survey a situation and to quickly grasp the opportunity contained within. And it's also saying to you, really, sometimes being first is essential to success. Now, when these two cards appear together, it can indicate a period of intense mental anxiety. And we know that because there's your intense mental anxiety here. And the combination suggests that you're feeling overwhelmed by the challenges ahead and that you're unsure how to move forward. So this card here, the Knight of Swords, indicates that you are likely to take a bold, impulsive action without thinking. So without thinking through the potential outcomes. Or the combination may show a need for you to channel your fears and anxiety into a more productive outlet. So you've got the Knight of Swords, ambition and intellect, and the combination presents an opportunity to harness the nervous energy and transform it into a driving force for change, which is, this is kind of like these two cards here. So it really is essential to approach situations with caution and to seek wise counsel. And this wise counsel can be your higher self. Or maybe you go to the King of Swords or the Queen of Swords looking for your wise counsel before you take action. But certainly the Nine of Swords and the Knight of Swords together, they can together represent a challenging time. But it can also be an opportunity for personal growth and development. And I actually love that. I think that's a great start to the new year. I know maybe I'm just a bit weird, but you know, I think to deny that we don't have dark nights of the soul would be ridiculous. So we do, and what these cards are saying is acknowledging that we do. This is how you build your strength to manage this over here. And then this card is coming up here saying you need to work on these two things here in order to make the decisions that you need to make here. Because the combination of these two particularly, it highlights the importance of addressing your mental anguish and your anxiety. And these two cards, they encourage you to pursue your goals with determination here and ambition. You know, while reminding you to approach your challenges with caution and with thoughtfulness, to be thoughtful about all of this. So it's, you know, it's about harnessing your energy and using this energy to make positive change in your life. Okay, well, there is our first reading of the year. I hope it resonates with you. And if it does, do please leave me a comment below. You can also subscribe to this channel to be notified for the next reading. And if you would like to know more, you can book a private reading with me. I always love to hear from you. You can find my email address in the description of the video. So lovely people, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'm going to wish you a positive new year, and I look forward to talking to you next week.